Hello, everyone. This is the Keeping It Real in Real Estate show, and I'm your host, Kathy Blakey. I'm a realtor with Century 21, a marketer, entrepreneur, and nature enthusiast. In this podcast series, I'm going to take you on a journey as we explore topics in real estate, including the market, mortgages, common inspection issues, sustainable future, and more. Are you a homeowner? Future homeowner? Do you like saving money? Enjoy healthy living? Then this podcast series may be for you. Stay tuned as we go deep into these topics. And don't forget, subscribe, like, and share. Welcome to this episode of Keeping It Real in Real Estate, where we're going to be talking about some of the common questions about getting your home ready to sell. We're going to talk about whether to upgrade or not upgrade certain parts of your home. What kind of repairs should you do in advance? And some general tips and common things that I've seen when showing homes. Stay tuned for this episode. One really important consideration for getting ready to sell your house, and a common question, is should I upgrade it? Should I upgrade the kitchen, the bathrooms? Should I add a finished basement, add a sunroom, add a fence? Many types of upgrades and updates all are available. And if you're going to be living in your house, sometimes these things really make sense. It's for your own enjoyment. But if you're doing it just to put it on the market, you should really stop, give it some careful consideration, consult with your realtor, understand your local market conditions, understand your competition, and how does your home compare to the competition? And are these upgrades necessary for your home to sell in the current condition, in the current market? Other questions are around what kinds of updates to do. For instance, one question might be, should I add granite countertops? And here's my answer for that. Of course, it's subjective, and you always want to check with your listing realtor for the best advice for your marketplace and your area, your community. But in general, I would say if you've got old flooring, old cabinets, and you don't plan to update the rest of your kitchen, adding granite counters really might not be the best use of your funds. On the other hand, if you've got pretty decent cabinets, nice flooring, and just some old counters that maybe have some scratches and dings on them, sure, I would say go ahead and make the investment. It really could make a difference. Another common question or concern when getting your home ready for sale is around the flooring or the carpet that maybe it's seen better days and you're wondering, should it be replaced? And so the question does come up, and there's not really a one-size-fits-all answer. It's really going to depend on your marketplace, your competition, your price point, your targeted buyer, and overall condition of your home. So what I will say here is, if your home is in otherwise excellent condition, it's been freshly painted, you've got nice trim, upgrades throughout, it's probably best not to let worn carpet be a deterrent from the buyers who otherwise may see your home as pristine. Now, some sellers may question and say, well, how about we offer a credit, a carpet allowance? And that's definitely an alternative, but just use caution, because what you don't want to do is have that stated as being a carpet allowance and be a deterrent from buyers who may think your home is now a fixer-upper. They haven't even seen it yet, but because it's been called out as being carpet not in good condition, they may wonder if the rest of the house is not in good condition also. In any event, consult with your realtor or real estate professional to guide you through that decision. To stage or not stage, that is often the question for many sellers. And while I can do a whole nother episode on staging entirely, I'm going to touch on it briefly and just give a couple of points with regards to staging. First of all, less is more. So keeping things simple and minimal is the best from a staging perspective. Having some color coordination throughout is also good. And if you have a vacant home and your question is, should you stage or not stage? There's a lot that kind of goes into that. It depends on your budget. It depends on your marketplace. It depends on your competition. It also has a lot to do with the layout of your home. If your home has a different layout to it where a buyer is going to be questioning, what would I use this room for? If you think that might be something a buyer's going to think, you have your answer. You should stage. You want the buyer to be able to see the functionality of your home. Maybe some simple things like living room decor, a dining table. Here's another good one. If a buyer is not going to be sure whether their full queen or king size bed is going to fit into a room, might be a good idea to stage up some furniture into that room. Another consideration is about repairs, and should you do them? How many should you do? Should you get a home inspection prior to listing? So a couple of thoughts I have on this are, first of all, do you intend to do the work that you find in a home inspection? If you do, great. You should go ahead and have that done. That way your home has already been repaired and ready for the new buyer, and it will save you some uncertainty through the inspection phase of your contract. On the other hand, if you are fairly certain that you do not intend to do the work, then knowing everything that's wrong with your home from an inspection, you are going to need to disclose that, and that could deter some buyers. It doesn't mean that if you think something's wrong with your home, you shouldn't repair it. So let me give you an example there. If you have an aged roof or you suspect something might be wrong with your heating system, maybe you don't need to hire a general home inspector, but instead consult with a few specialists. Have a roofer come out and either certify your roof or make the minor repairs or major repairs that need to be done so that it's in good shape. Same with your heating system. If you think there might be a problem, it's probably best to go ahead and address that because it's going to come up in the inspection anyway. Major systems is another consideration for whether or not to upgrade. And again, it's going to have a lot to do with the overall condition of your home, how it's being marketed, how it's being targeted. And just as an example, if your target buyer is a first-time buyer, but your roof and your heating system are both aged and at the end of their life cycle, it's going to be more difficult to attract a buyer for your home, knowing that that buyer is probably using all of their funds just to get into the home and may not have a reserve available to replace an entire roof or an entire heating system shortly after moving in. If you're really not sure what types of repairs, could be coming up in the home inspection or that you should be doing as part of the pre-listing, again, consult with your realtor. They will have a pretty good idea from attending many inspections what type of things come up. You also could consider doing a modified version of a home inspection where you hire an inspector to walk around your home with you and point out some things that are obvious and maybe not so obvious to you that you should hire a specialist to take care of. Another consideration for whether to make repairs in advance of putting your home for sale or not has a lot to do with the type of financing that your likely buyer will be using. So if you're in a marketplace where you may be getting FHA or VA offers on your home from buyers, you want to be sure that you're addressing the common appraisal issues that come up with regards to property condition for those financing terms. So for example, safety is a big thing. If there are broken windows, tripping hazards, chipped paint, extender pipes on hot water heaters, those are all things that I see fairly common in FHA appraisals. And so it would be best for you just to go ahead and get that done before listing your home. And for two reasons. One, it's a lot less hassle to deal with at the end of the process where you have to then send the appraiser back out to verify that it's been done. And then the second reason is any buyer who is using that type of financing, them and their agent are going to be tuned into those types of issues and may think twice about offering on your property if they can clearly see that those issues are already there. One final note on whether or not to have a pre-list inspection. Again, consult with your realtor, but here's more advice for you on that. If your transaction when you sell your home has a domino effect, meaning you're going to be purchasing another home afterwards, or you have some other hard date that you really need to be sure that you close on your home on time and that the buyer is secured. it would be in your best interest to find out what's wrong with your home, make the repairs or disclose them and have them accept that condition. The last thing you want to have happen if you've already got another home that you're planning to purchase on a, hard move date, you don't want to be 14 days, 10 days into the contract and then find out that there's some major items that need repair that you hadn't planned on financially, or that the buyer is just overwhelmed with and is not willing to accept and walks away from the transaction. In those circumstances, having that pre-list inspection gives you peace of mind to know that your home is in tip-top shape for the buyer. A few more tips for sellers today, and the first one is going to be about smells. Your house might smell, and you might not know it. You need to get someone who is objective, maybe a friend, a family member, your realtor, someone to come in and be honest and you need to be willing to listen to this because it is important. Buyers will not buy your house because it smells. Some common culprits are dogs, cats, cat pee, musty furniture, mildew, dirty laundry. You name it, it could be there, and you just might not know it. So please take the time and listen to those who can tell you that. Now, if you have a smell, do something about it, but please do not put an air freshener in every outlet. That is even worse than the smell. The next topic is around stuff. We all have it, some of us more than others, but when it's time to sell your home, you need less of it. Let's make it easy for buyers to envision themselves moving into your home. Couple real life examples. I have walked into a listing appointment where the foyer was completely filled with photos all the way down the main hallway, and buyers just need to see something a little simpler walking into the entryway. So that's one tip. Collectibles. If you can, you're going to need to pack them up anyway when you're moving. So maybe now's a good time to pare those items down. And then finally, I have had buyers tell me, really two things I'm going to tell you, real life example. I've had buyers tell me, I'm not making an offer on this house. I love it, but I don't believe the seller's going to get all their stuff out of here. And then second is, I don't believe the home inspector can do a good job with all this stuff. He's not going to be able to see the basement walls, see the systems. Please, let's move on to the next house. First impressions really do matter. If you are putting your home for sale, you should be sure that your entryway, walking up to the home, everything visible is in tip-top shape. That means freshly painted, knock down the cobwebs, and make sure that everyone can safely, comfortably walk up to your home. Decisions are made in the first few seconds, even as to whether a buyer wants to go in and see the rest. So I know that curb appeal is important. Doing landscaping is important, but that's not what I'm talking about in this case. I'm talking about the basics. If your house looks like something from the Shoot of the Monsters, you need to knock down those cobwebs and let the buyers through. The last tip I'm going to leave you with is open your eyes and see what you don't normally see. Or, of course, ask your realtor to do that. So some common examples are dusty heater vents. Believe it or not, I've walked through some really nice homes, really clean, spotless everywhere, good shape, look like they're in really good condition. And then the vents, whether it be the bathroom exhaust vent, the heater vent, the return vent, have dust accumulated. And while that in itself, sure, that could be clean. But what's the underlying cause for that? Was the house previously so dusty, throughout that it's just all through the vents? Has the heating system not been properly maintained? And is that why there's so much dust on the vents? So I think that it's really easy to overlook because you live there, but try to open your eyes to the things that you don't normally see. So in this episode for sellers, we talked about whether or not you should upgrade, whether or not you should have a home inspection prior to listing, what repairs you should do, and then some other general tips that might be helpful for you. Just going to leave you with one more about hiring a professional. First of all, you should hire a realtor, a real estate professional that knows your market and can guide you each step of the way. And with regards to repairs and home improvement projects, something you should realize, Sherwin-Williams will sell you paint. Doesn't mean you're the best person to use it. Home Depot will sell you electrical and plumbing supplies. Doesn't mean that you're the best person to use them. If you are skilled, have at it. If you are not, please hire a professional. It will make a difference. In future episodes for sellers, we'll cover other specialized topics such as staging and how to prepare your home for photographs. Stay tuned for future episodes. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Keeping It Real in Real Estate with Kathy Blakey as your host. For more information on this episode or others, visit www.keepingitrealinfo.com. There you can find information about becoming a guest speaker, episode notes, and contact information for the guest speakers. You can also connect with me on social media by using the key terms Kathy Blakey Realtor. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube. If you'd like to subscribe to this podcast, you can find it on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and more. Thanks for listening. As a disclaimer, this show is not intended to be a replacement for professional advice. For specific issues related to your real estate transaction, please consult with your qualified realtor, mortgage broker, home inspector, or real estate attorney. Thank you.